So the United States beat South Sudan yesterday, and what was interesting is Joel Embiid did not play. And South Sudan's best player was a center. And supposedly our best center did not play. So it's like been an awakening for Joel Embiid, except a bad one, is that everybody at the Olympics has to qualify for the Olympics, except basketball players, men's and women's. Caitlin Clark apparently wasn't good enough. Joel Embiid should have been the first-team center. And then by the second exhibition game, you realized Bam Adebayo and Anthony Davis not only fit better, are they better? I mean, that's how you select the men's and women's team. It's subjective. I hope this person fits. Jaylen Brown, MVP of the finals. No thanks. Derek White, fourth best player for the Celtics. You bet. Tatum's great. Doesn't get a minute in some games. But Embiid not playing, to me, is a sign the league is finally getting it on a world global stage. He doesn't fit, and in Philadelphia and here, he can clog up the offense. Now, some of this is, and he's got some really, really good skills for his size, but the NBA media tends to anoint stars, superstars, before they really are. Ja Morant's a great example. He's a tiny, tiny, thin player, like under 185 pounds. He's small, so what's that mean? You better be able to shoot. He can't. His best three-point percentage year is 34%. Gets hurt a lot. He's immature. I understand that. Players come into the league early, so I'm not going to bang on him too much for that. But the reality is I was told he was going to take over the league. He can't take over his division. Forget his conference. Derrick Rose. I was told for a year, Derrick Rose, this is the future. Again, tiny player that can't shoot. His career three-point shooting is 32%. In Chicago, it was 30. This is not the 70s and 80s where slam dunks define you. If you're under 6'5" in this league, you either have to be an unbelievable defender, distributor, or you got to shoot. Joel Embiid doesn't defend like Anthony Davis. He's not nearly as athletic, doesn't run the floor like Giannis. He doesn't have the layers and the dexterity and the shooting and passing of Jokic. And although he has some qualities of Shaq, he doesn't dominate and win like him. We are seeing an awakening. People finally acknowledging he clogs up it. We've always blamed the coaches and his teammates in Philadelphia. But now we have Spoelstra and Steve Kerr and LeBron and Steph and AD, and it doesn't work. He's been anointed to something he's not. He's really talented and productive, but the regular season, he's a big body. People don't even want to take charges in the regular season. They get out of the way, lots of easy baskets, and his size and his ability, 8 feet into score, is going to get points and rebounds. But right now, he's a 30-year-old with a mountain of injuries who is yet to prove he doesn't get in the way with other great players, and he doesn't necessarily elevate others. The Sixers, as they've built around him, have yet to win a second-round playoff series in the East, which is like the Big 12 of college football. In the East, he can't win a second-round playoff series. And that's been 8 years. Young Celtics, dysfunctional Knicks, Pacers rebuilding. LeBron leaves Miami. Kawhi leaves Toronto. The East has been wide open for almost a decade. And he can't win a second-round playoff series? What you're seeing is what he is, productive. But basketball in the Olympics is something you don't have to qualify for. It's subjective, and people are influenced by popularity and production. This, to me, is what the critics of Embiid have been saying, and there's not many. Look at him with one coach in Philly, or another teammate in Philly, or now the world's best players. He gets in the way. So, people draft their quarterbacks in the first round, and you know this. I'm not telling you anything. When you draft a quarterback in the first round, there's a much greater chance he misses then becomes Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Mahomes. Much greater chance. You go to the last decade, there's been, I think, 32 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. There's been 7 stars and 17 misses. Drake Maye sounds like it's not going well in New England. According to Michael Hawley, somebody I know, trust, and respect, he said, I went to recent practices. I wanted him to be Justin Herbert and Josh Allen because those were the comps. But what I saw was the ghost of Mac Jones. He couldn't do anything right. Sorry to laugh. There's another story that Joe Milton, he was the quarterback, fun to watch from Tennessee, 6th round. They drafted 2 quarterbacks. That Milton has a wow factor. Big, stronger arm than Maye, more athletic than Maye. And everybody's looking thinking, is the 6th round guy better than the 1st round guy? But part of it is this. Take out the Randy Moss years, 3 years. Even with Brady, Gronk, and Edelman and no Moss, New England was never an offensive culture. It was briefly with Randy Moss, but it was a do your job, sacrifice for the team, even paycheck. It was never an organization of offensive creativity, abundance, joy. That's Kansas City. That's San Francisco. That's the Rams. Sometimes it's Philadelphia. It's not New England. Here's a prime example. With the greatest quarterback in the history of the sport, they went to 9 Super Bowls in New England. Do you know how many touchdowns they scored in 9 first quarters? None. In fact, in 9 Super Bowls with Brady, with Tom Brady, they scored total 3 points in the first quarter. Why? Because they were always a play it safe, don't make mistakes, hyper efficiency, will outsmart and outcoach them. Again, the Randy Moss years briefly were different. So Drake Maye comes into an organization. They don't know offense. It's a defensive culture. And they hired Gerard Mayo, who's Belichick. Mantras, terms, belief system. So this was always going to be the toughest lift for any of these quarterbacks. I said, whoever Minnesota gets, J.J. McCarthy, is bound to succeed. Great offensive head coach, great left tackle, a superstar receiver, good running backs, capable O-line. J.J. McCarthy would have to stink to not be eventually pretty successful. And whoever goes to New England will struggle. I mean, PFF ranks New England's wide receiving core, all Belichick drafted, as 32nd. PFF ranks their running back group, all Belichick drafted, as 25th. Their offensive line as 28th. What does that tell you? That the 6th round quarterback, Joe Milton, is going to probably win the job because he's the athlete. He's the bigger, stronger, faster, more dynamic athlete. And they don't have any at wide receiver, tight end, at running back. So when I read this story, my take is, yeah, Joe Milton will make plays. Listen, Kirk Cousins and RG3 back in 2012 got drafted by Washington. And they figured out by year 2, Cousins is the guy. I think that's what we're looking at now. I don't think I'm overreacting. I think when you look at the historical culture of New England, and then they basically hire Belichick's favorite guy, and Belichick's guy is a defensive guy, and defensive coaches see the world from a don't make mistakes, efficient, run the ball when you have a lead, eat up the clock. That kind of mantra could work with a Josh Allen level player. But Josh is a playmaker. He can overcome some of that conservative coaching. C.J. Stroud's got a conservative coach. C.J. Stroud's talented enough to overcome that. But Drake Maye at his best was a project. Everybody knew that. Bad feet, not refined, miss easy throws. Got some Herbert qualities. There's no question. I leaned on my NFL execs. What do you see? They said there's a little Herbert. Big, tall, good arm, pretty smart kid. But when you enter a defensive culture where they just hired another defensive coach, they have no playmakers. Don't be shocked if Joe Milton wins this job or gets a lot of snaps this year.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.